So let's get started. So I just wanted to confirm that the views are all set up properly. So I'm just going to go quickly through all the submissions for the executive summary. So right now I think there are 7 groups. Okay. So if you are missing in any of the groups, then just this is KTV. Okay. This will end it. Okay, I don't know who's in this group. Who's in this group? Who's in this group? Huh?
There's 5 of us. There's 5 of us.
Okay, so when you please send me this with the names of the 5. So this is So is anybody missing? Your name is not. So can you update? Yes. Whichever group you are in. So just update it and okay. So I think we've got about 30 students. So what I'm going to do is actually the kind of one that I sent you was similar to this guy, right? So most of the people ended up following this template. Some people and but there are many different templates that you can use. So here is another template where this company used this approach. It's the same information, but we organized it in a lot of paragraphs. So I'm going to send you this particular format also. So if you feel that your executive summary will be better communicated with an approach like this, you can adapt it. So feel free to adapt it, because use this approach, you see that they are kind of explaining in a lot more simpler fashion, what the product does and what the company is, and important point that they don't, which is probably not there, and which I kind of struggled with also when I read your executive summaries, was why did you come up with this business plan for the company? So what was your motivation? What was the pain point? So one very important concept that all startups focus on is something called pain points. So pain point is the same as what the need is. But when you explain to an investor or a venture capitalist, or angel investor or whatever, if you explain to them that these are the pain points, then really it indicates to them that you understand the problem space pretty well. You know the customer, you know what's going on. So, these guys have explained what the pain point is. I personally think that it would be great if all of you all put into your executive summaries with the pain point. What problem are you really trying to solve? And then the other thing that is nice to communicate is also why this particular company, or why this particular approach to your solution. It's like, so you have to explain. I saw a lot of the product solutions or things that you were planning to do, but what I did not see was why you. So if you were using something like Instagram or Spotify or whatever, which is the health. So why is it appropriate to this particular environment? So why are we using it? Why is your company or your idea relevant to the problem, pain that you're solving? Right? So that you've got to communicate in some form or fashion also. And then I think this is where they describe their minimum viable product MVP. Competition. I think because of the way the structure of that executive summary was, we basically filled out that table. But it might be a good idea to try and explain what is so special about how the competition is attacking the market. So what are they doing that is their approach, and why your approach is going to be different. And then, to explain how the environment is superior to anything else that we know. Okay, so I will email this document to all of you, so you have a chance of. And finally, what you will be getting to is this thing called the business plan. And so with this business plan, to kind of fill out what you did in your executive summary, but they have a 2-page or 3-page executive summary, but then they, kind of really fill it out as a full document. Yes.
Sir, in the rules it is written that rather than having a static business plan, you should have a dynamic business model.
Right.
Very first part.
Excellent. So what will happen is that this business plan is written after they've gone ahead and worked with the business model canvas. So the business model canvas is an iterative document. So you ultimately, you can't give a model to an investor. Right? You explain to them what you got there, but you've got to still give them something in writing, right, as to what you're. So if you develop your business model canvas, which is your assumptions and your hypothesis, and then based on that, what your market is, and what your revenue is going to be, and what your product is going to be. After you've done enough iterations, you finally say, okay, this thing looks like what I want to execute. This is the business model canvas I want to execute. So when you're ready to execute that, you write it down as a plan. And then the plan itself will keep changing. So every time your business model canvas changes, you update the plan.
So for our stage, we should, how can we write the plan?
You write it at the end. This is at the end.
Okay, this is final.
Yeah, this will be the final submission. because ultimately you want to have a document that pretty much communicates what you've learned from the customer base, from the validation, from all that, right? So that was a very good question.
Most of us written in business plan is going for hypothesis.
Is one?
Hypothesis. And it's not, there are no facts in the business plan.
Explain what equity is.
Actually, in the continuing from the was that in the business plan, all the points are related to hypothesis. There is no fact, actual fact.
Right. The plan is based on hypotheses that you validated during your customer discovery, customer validation.
There are facts.
Hypothesis is something that you think is right. And then you validate it. And then you say, oh, this thing seems like it's correct. And based on that, you create a customer creation step, which tells you that house-wise that have houses facing the east are good for solar cookers market, right on that. So based on that, that's your customer creation. And based on that, you can say that I'm going to do a plan for business in Ahmedabad, business in Gujarat, or whatever it is, where solar cookers. So basically, your hypothesis finally becomes some sort of an operating plan as to how you're going to build your company, how you're going to build your business, what kind of financing you're going to need. And that plan will typically be valid for 6 months, 9 months, because as you get deeper into your company, you'll find that you learn more about everything. Maybe your product is going to get better. Maybe you figure out a product that works in the morning and night, or you find out a product that, is a hybrid product, whatever it is. So as you figure out what your product is, or what your customer is, or maybe, it makes sense to expand, whatever, or the market is not there, the market is somewhere else. So then you, in 6 to 9 months, you'll be upgrading your product, your business plan.
Sir,
Right, yeah, go ahead.
like in the executive summary, we made a lot of assumptions, right? So how will we evolve from executive summary to the business plan? How will we evolve? We have to do some experiments or something.
Very good, very good. So this is where we come to the next chapter. Okay, so we went through the customer development process, we went through the customer discovery process, customer validation, customer creation, and then configuration. And then, in order to do all of that, we said we got to develop a manifesto. And we were at point number 4, I think. So, what were the first 2 steps? Anybody remember? We have no facts inside.
There is no facts inside the
Or second one that we went to the engineering the responsive to whatever it is. And then failure is an individual part of research. And after that, we were going to use
iteration and payrolls, like group 1 is
right. And then you're going to do so no business plan survives first. That's so this is what the question that you raise, right? Which is you write a business plan, but it's not going to, when you talk to the customer, typically the customer is going to say, yeah, this doesn't make sense. And then when you ask them more questions, you'll say, you're saying that you're not going to buy from me, you're going to buy from a retail store. But would you be happier if I would do all of these other things and I could give you the product at your home at the right time, whatever? Would you be willing to buy that? Something like that. So essentially, you work with something that gives you the ability to intuitively get things going. Okay, which brings us to essentially the business model canvas. So, who wants to explain what the business model canvas is? So there are points even for participating in the class. Okay, come on. Yeah. What do you think the business model canvas is?
So basically, business model canvas can be considered as a dashboard where we can have all the information regarding like profit and loss going on and customer market and everything included just at one place. So like the decision making processes and everything can be done just by looking at that one part. Means everything regarding the company can be included in that.
It's like value proposition,
That's what
how revenue generated, how the customers are created from the customers,
We can also take a
how you
decision.
generate your resources for the product that you want to make.
It's a drawing board where we go and look at all the components together, how they interlink with each other, and how each particular segment will affect the other segment, and how we can go ahead with the plan.
Exactly. So here he's designed this model canvas with 9 boxes. Right. So the center one is put as value proposition. Then he's got things like customer discovery. Then he's got all kinds of different things, right? So basically, all of them are parameters that affect each other. You come up with a value proposition that what is your